my story really is it's a testimony to miracles still happen today. Yeah, because I've heard a lot of people, atheists that maybe you try and convert, try and speak to, they say all that stuff in the Bible is not, it's miracles. It doesn't happen anymore, you know. But I've seen miracles, and I truly believe what I'm about to tell you is from God, you know. So just to give you a bit of a backstory on my life, I was a wretched sinner, addicted to weed, smoked weed for 10, 12 years, back to back all day, from morning to evening, you know. All my mates, you know, smoke it, sell it, grow it from Essex. So I was around it from a young age, and I got involved with all of that and the wrong people and stuff, you know. And it become part of me, who I was, you know. And that led me down other bad paths as well, you know. I was a violent person, you know. An anger problem. I do believe the weed gave me some demons and stuff that, you know, were influencing my behaviour and stuff, you know, like that.
Yeah.
I was wrapped up in a world which was becoming really bad, you know. Sexual sin constantly, you know. Just my whole life was really out of control. I, through my whole 20s, I know that I didn't know at the time, but I know that I was searching for God somehow. You know, when I was smoking a lot of weed, people that smoke weed, it's like, you know, I was a hippie, you know. Thought I was spiritual, you know. I thought I knew what that meant, you know. But the weed gives you some kind of it does make you feel spiritual, because you are kind of realizing certain stuff and getting certain revelations, and maybe it's changing your thought patterns and stuff, you know. Makes you maybe open-minded. You go down the conspiracy theories route, and I'm not saying that's bad. A lot of it's true. Well, I think we're all finding out today that a lot of that's true, you know. But it was waking me up. I was searching for truth in a lot of places, and I thought I knew what I was on about, but that's really where I was in my life, you know. Lost, I would say, but searching for truth and smoking too many drugs, you know, and doing too many sinful things. The day, and so by the way, during this period, I'd never had anyone preach Jesus to me. My mum and dad are both atheists, yeah, so they don't believe in God. They don't believe in anything spiritual. All right. I've never really had anyone talk to me about Jesus, to be honest. Other than I did go to a Christian school, you know, but I don't remember them talking about any verses. We sung hymns at school. I'm sure a lot of you did as well, back in the day. They probably don't do that anymore at schools, but that was really where it ended to me. It was in junior school or infants or wherever I was when we done that, and that was it. Secondary school, forgot all about it, went downhill. So my testimony starts at around 3 years now. It must be 3 years now. I've been saved. Me and my mate Ollie, who I used to smoke a lot of weed with, known him since I was at secondary school. We decided to go down Cornwall in the summer, yeah, and so he had a van. He was doing van life basically. So he was like, "Come down with me. We'll get the surfboards out. We'll go for a little holiday." So I said, "Yeah, sweet." So we start driving down to Cornwall, and if any of you've been, well, from where I'm from, it's about 5-6 hours drive. So we left, and you know what you do when we were smoking a lot of weed in the car on the way down there, talking all of what we want to do and all the stories of what we were going to do. We're going to get a boat out. We're going to go surfing. We're going to get the boat. We're going to go, and apparently you can find dolphins out there. We're going to go and find a pod of dolphins, and we're going to go and swim with dolphins in the wild, and we're going to catch fish and eat fish like out the sea. We've got all these stories and things we want to do. But we was talking about that specifically on the way down there, really excited for the journey. And then we finally get there, middle of the night, because we travel at night, so wake up in the morning. And where we went, has anyone been to Cornwall?
Yeah.
Newquay, been to Newquay?
Yeah.
There's a place called Fistral Beach, yeah? And then there's a place called Little Fistral right next to it. And that is where all the van lifers go down there, yeah? So when we turned up, they've changed it all now, they've put away NPR cameras down there, but when we turned up, it was open. There must have been 100 vans parked down this beach, all doing the exact same thing, yeah? So we found a spot, parked in between two vans, and then in the morning started making mates with all the people next to us, yeah? Met some good lads down there. One of them was called Avo, we call him Avocado. One of them was called Lee, one of them called Rodney, all different ages, all different people, yeah? So we're having a good laugh down there and stuff, right? And we're making good friends, you know? All of them slightly different backgrounds, but similar type of geezers, you know? We're all smoking weed and stuff, you know, like, we're all having fun. But remember, there was one guy there, his name was Lee, and he made a bit of an impression on me from day one, okay? Because he was the only person in my life that he wouldn't stop talking about Jesus. Yeah, he wouldn't stop talking about Jesus, right? And because I was spiritually inclined, I was listening to him, you know? But because I had so many other beliefs in front of all that, you know, I used to meditate, I used to take a bit from here and a bit from there, Buddhist, this and that, you know, whatever. I was listening, I was interested, but he was intriguing as a person, you know, interesting person. So we became close. Down there, say, I think it was day number 4. It was day number 4. Me and Ollie got the surfboards out and was like, right, we're going to go down, do a bit of surfing, yeah? So we're at the top of the hill, Fistral Beach goes all the way down, and at the bottom of the hill, you've got big beach on the left, goes miles long. That's where all the board masters happens. All the surfers from all around the world go and do surfing there, yeah? So we were supposed to go down there to go on the surfboards. As we're walking down, Lee catches up with us. He said, boys, I'll come down with you, yeah? Only met him a few days ago. He said, I'll come and watch you. He didn't have a surfboard, right? So he's like, I'll come watch you. So we're like, sweet. So we're walking down, and as we get probably halfway down, you can see all the people. So by the way, the left is the beach, and on the right hand side, you've got a massive bay, yeah? So a lot of Cornwall is bay, you know, you've got a big bay. There's different towns around this bay. You can imagine the diameter across this bay is probably a good couple miles. So it's a big old bay, right? So we're walking down, we can see about 20, 30 people all looking over the cliff into this bay, yeah? Now we've been there 4 days, that's unusual. So we don't know what they're looking at. So we're like, what are they looking at? So we're walking down, we're looking into the bay, and all I remember is there was a big old catamaran boat, and this was probably 400-500 metres out into the bay, maybe a bit further. 20 scuba divers all in the water around the boat, okay? And then as I'm looking at that, about 100 metres out from there, we see this fin coming out of the water, yeah? Right? So we're like, whoa, what is that, you know? Hopefully it's dolphin, whatever. But we didn't really know what it was. But so we was like, right, we'll sack that beach off on the left. Let's go jump down the cliffs and let's try and swim out to it, yeah? So we jumped down the cliffs and got in the water, start swimming out. But if any of you have been on a surfboard before, trying to swim on your belly with waves quite strong coming in, strong current, we was all knackered by 100 metres. My shoulders were on fire, yeah? So all of us were knackered after 100 metres. We didn't get nowhere near the boat, yeah? We all stopped in the water, breathing. And we're looking, because the boat was our way marker for where this fin was, you know? So we're looking out into the bay. And we're like, where's that gone? We couldn't find it, it's gone, yeah? So we were like, all right, shall we head back, yeah? Out of nowhere, 5 seconds later, this thing just comes out of the water in front of our board, yeah? And it's like, this thing's massive, yeah? The width of it, it was a huge fish, big dolphin, yeah? Massive fin, yeah? And it's right in front of our boards, and it stayed with us for a good 4 minutes, 4 minutes, yeah? It was swimming around us. We had the world of the time. It was like SeaWorld, but never in the wild, you know, like we weren't getting shuttled around by it, but I was underwater, and it was looking at me in the eye, checking me out. It was coming up round Ollie, coming round Lee. It was the most, as you can imagine, like we was all like buzzing. Like it was the most amazing experience we ever had. So after it goes off, we then swim back, okay? And we're on the way back up to the van. We're all like, whoa, that was sick. Now, Lee didn't know at the time that 4 days earlier, me and Ollie had told each other that we're going to swim with a dolphin. We're going to find the dolphin, we're going to swim with it, yeah? He didn't know that. But on the way back up to the top, he said, boys, he went, I'm telling you, we have been blessed by the Lord today. God has blessed us, yeah? Now, me being not a Christian, I was agreeing with him tacitly, you know, yeah, we're blessed. But I remember thinking, this is maybe just lucky. We just got really lucky, you know? But anyway, we get to the top, and there's another Irish fella called James, an Irish fella called James that lived in his van for 3 years on that bay, yeah? A nomad, he just lives there. And he claimed that plot of land as his own. It's not his own, but he's a character, yeah? And he comes up to us and he goes, boys, you are so lucky. Yeah, accent's bad, but he goes, you are so lucky. He said, I've lived on this bay for 3 years and I've never seen a dolphin there, and I've never seen anyone swim with a dolphin, yeah? So we was like, so that hit me how lucky we was. That the fact that 4 days ago we said we were going to do it and we did it. And then the man that's talking about Jesus is saying we're blessed by God. So it started to register a little bit that we are really lucky, you know. But I didn't accept that we were blessed at that 100% point by God, you know. But it was definitely special. So then that's that. And then fast forward, okay, because it didn't end there. So fast forward to the last day of the week, Sunday. We said we had to go home. So I had work the next morning, so we had to leave, yeah. And I remember it was the nicest day of the week. It was like 35 degrees. It was clear blue skies, no clouds at all in the skies, yeah. And just a lovely day. We didn't want to leave. So anyway, we're saying our goodbyes to all the lads. Now, as you can imagine, we've swum with a dolphin with Lee. We're like best mates with him now. You know, like you feel like you've known him forever, yeah. So we're saying our goodbyes, give him a hug and that, and he said to me something very strange, which I still to this day don't know where it came from, given the circumstances of what the day was like, yeah. He said to me, and everything was fine, but he said to me, he went, do you know what, James? I went, what? And he went, whenever I felt down or lonely or depressed in life, yeah, he said, I've always wanted to find the end of a rainbow. Yeah, see what's there. Is there a pot of gold there? Yeah, I've always wanted to see an end of it. But no one was depressed or down that day. I don't know why he said it to me, yeah. I was like, all right, nice one, geez, you know. See you later, yeah. Took his number, so we set off, right? We get in the van, and you'll tell what's coming, yeah. We literally got in the van. It takes us 20 minutes to get out, well, 20 minutes, half hour to get out of Newquay, maybe onto the first A road or whatever, a motorway. And we got onto that road. Beautiful day, windows are open, and out of nowhere, I don't know where it come from, but the sky just went dark, yeah, in a matter of seconds, yeah. And it started hammering it down, like torrential rain like that, yeah. Lasted for a minute, 2 minutes max. And then it started clearing. And then the biggest rainbow I've ever seen in my life, yeah, comes 45 degrees sharp across the sky. And the end of it lands right in front of our van on the motorway, yeah. Right? Gives me goosebumps telling this story, yeah. I got my camera out and I filmed it. I thought it was an illusion at first from the refraction of our glass in the van, but we've got the window open, so I stick my phone out the window, and no, the end of the rainbow's there, yeah. So I'm filming it. I sent it to Lee and I said, because he just told me 20 minutes ago he's always wanted to find the end of a rainbow, yeah. So I sent him the message and I said the video, I said, and this time I worded it to him. I said, God's just shown us the end of the rainbow, yeah. And he was like, whoa, he was like, I can't believe it. Yeah, it was mad, yeah. So that's the story, really. I always finish it off with a little, so I've told that story to a lot of people in church, yeah. And I told it to my dad once, because my dad's an atheist, right? I remember I was sitting in the living room with my dad about 6 months later, and he listens to Radio 1 all day, every day. And there was a song that come on about rainbows, okay? And I'm sitting there listening to it, and it reminded me, I said, Dad, have you ever seen the end of a rainbow? And he's an atheist, he likes his science. He doesn't know as much about science as he thinks he does, because telling you Christians know a lot more about science, is more biblically accurate, yeah, in a lot of ways. But he said, no, he said, no, it's impossible. You never see the end of a rainbow. He said, based on the way the light refracts off the prisms, yeah, in the sky, you're gonna be in the arch, yeah. There's gonna be an arch, because that's how it works, yeah. I said, Dad, I've seen the end of a rainbow. And he went, no, you haven't, yeah. And I went, Dad, I said, I have. I said, I've got a video of it. No, you haven't, yeah. Right, showed him the video, okay. You should have seen his face. He's like, sort of scratching his head, yeah. And then he gets his phone out, okay, and starts Googling the science behind it to prove to me that it can't happen, yeah. And then he goes, see, he goes, look here, based on science, technical, this and that, you'll be in the middle, yeah. And I said, all I can explain to you is that was God. And I said, regardless of if you can or not, my mate told me 20 minutes before that he's never seen it in his life, and he's always wanted to see it. I said, have you ever seen it, Dad? He said, no, Dad's nearly 60 years old, yeah. I said, that must be God, yeah. But, you know, that's the story, and that's just got to me, that shows, because it wasn't just one miracle that happened that week. It was 2 miracles that happened that week, and both of them were with the guy that was telling me about Jesus like that all week, yeah? Trying to get me to know the Lord, you know? And it's like God was just like, listen to him, mate, you know? And that really intrigued me to the point where I was baffled for months, you know? I could not get my head around it, trying to add up the probabilities. What is the probability of this miracle happening alone? Probably 1,000,000 to 1. What's this? What, 1,000,000 to 1? That's never happened to anyone on it. And then combine them all with the same geezer, must be trillions, and to what? It must be 10 to the power of 9 or whatever, you know? Like, it's got to be ridiculous. Like, how can that happen, you know? So, you know, that is it. And from that point, I bought my first Bible. I started reading the Bible, and I remember when I first got that Bible, I was reading it for hours and hours a day, you know, because I was baffled by what had happened, you know. My weed addiction, gone. I just was able to let go of it. I'd tried my whole life, since I've been addicted, I tried to quit off my own power, you know, many, many times. I only ever lasted a few weeks, max, you know, for 10 years. But for some reason, that addiction, you know, I'm not saying I still struggle with some things, you know, but that addiction left, and I've never had a craving since to quit weed, ever since then, you know. I've never had a craving to smoke weed. So that story to me just shows the power of the Lord, you know, and what he can do in our lives, you know. And he's done that for me, and I feel blessed that he even did that for me, you know what I mean, to call me to him, because, like, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. So what he does, you know. So praise the Lord for that.
Can we see the video?
Yeah, Christians, but it is a story, because, you know, this is my past. So I was sitting by the fire after an hour or so. We're getting really high off it. We both see something fly across the sky. It was a beautiful night. Yeah, the stars were out. Yeah, and we see 2 objects fly across the sky, and I know, and this is the thing about these drugs. Yeah, I know that this opens a gateway to